Hi, welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about our double circulatory system. But why do we need a circulatory system? Well, our bodies are large. There are large distances that exist between lungs and, say, for example, our digestive system, and between the lungs and our brain. And oxygen needs to be carried from the lungs to all the extremities of your body and to all the systems, and it cannot simply diffuse through the body. Our bodies are too big for that. If you are a simple little flatworm, or even a unicellular organism, or just a few cell layers thick, the oxygen could diffuse through the cells. But we're far too big and we're far too complex, and so we need to take oxygen and food substances to cells, and we do this via a transport system known as our circulatory system. So our cells need nutrients such as glucose and oxygen to stay alive. But in using the glucose and the oxygen, the cells produce waste products, and those waste substances and carbon dioxide must be carried away from the cells. So it's like a two-way street. The circulatory system has to bring substances to cells and has to take substances away. Now, there are 3 different types of blood vessels that perform different functions and do the carrying of the blood, which is the liquid medium in which oxygen, carbon dioxide, glucose, and other substances are all dissolved. So, first of all, we have arteries. Usually in diagrams that have color in them, arteries are indicated in red. The arteries are going to carry oxygenated blood, usually, to the rest of the body. They're going to drop off the oxygen, they're going to drop off food at the cells, and then they are going to move, or the arteries are going to break up into capillaries, which are very, very tiny blood vessels that connect the arteries across with the third kind of blood vessel called the vein. The veins then carry the deoxygenated blood back to the heart, and therefore we usually see on pictures that veins are indicated in blue. Now, if we had to have a look at a cross-section of an artery, a vein, and a capillary, we would see that although the structure of arteries and veins is very similar, arteries are, their walls of the artery is much thicker than the wall of the vein, whereas the lumen, that's the inside of the artery, is smaller than the lumen, or the inside of the vein. And what we have around the very outside of the artery and the vein is smooth muscle, which, we've got a spelling mistake there, smooth muscle, which makes sure that these veins and arteries can contract slightly in order to pump the blood slightly. We then have elastin or collagen, which is going to be able to wrap itself all the way around the outside. It's nice and tough, it's protective. And right on the inner side of, or the inside of the vein and the inside of the artery, we've got endothelial cells, a very thin layer made up of one cell layer only that lines the artery and the vein. And when we look at a capillary, we see that all a capillary is the endothelial cells. It doesn't have the smooth muscle and it doesn't have the collagen around it. Capillaries are very, very small. If we were to talk about the size, we would say that your thickest artery is your aorta, and it's probably about the thickness of your little finger. Some of your larger veins that go back to your heart are slightly narrower than your little finger. But capillaries are so narrow that it's very, very difficult to see them with the naked eye. And when surgeons have to do specialized surgery, they usually have to look at capillaries through a microscope while they're doing surgery on very tiny parts, maybe capillaries inside your eye. You need to be able to know the differences between arteries, veins, and capillaries. And of course, a very useful way to summarize these differences is to look at it in a table. So we know that arteries always carry blood from the heart away. And remember, A for artery, A for away. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Veins carry blood back to the heart, and of course capillaries join arteries and veins. Arteries, thick, muscular, elastic wall. Veins, we said, had a thinner layer of muscle, and capillaries, remember, no muscle layer. In arteries, you don't find valves, same as in capillaries, but in veins, there are valves which prevent the backflow of blood and prevent blood from pooling down in the bottom of your feet and your legs. There are many, many more differences between arteries, veins, and capillaries. Why don't you complete this table in your own time? I'll see you after the break.